What's up, folks? Let me know if you can hear me. I drink way too much coffee. I am so caffeinated right now, so I apologize if I talk too fast. I'm very buzzed. I got a large cold brew, right? And I added 2 shots. All right. In hindsight, not a great idea. I didn't even drink that much, but I'm like super caffeinated right now. Okay. So hopefully I can live stream for longer than usual. So this weekend, I visited my family. So that's the reason why I haven't excavated any of my Dino. Just because I didn't like touch it, right? So if you guys need one, if you guys want like my sign of confidence in this farm, then there you go. But that's like the only reason. I just thought it'd be funny. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah. So speaking of which, this weekend I visited my hometown, which is in Santa Clara, and I got rugged. Right, I got rugged. All right. I saw my friends from high school. Right, one of my best friends from high school, and played some tennis. Right. Because I used to play tennis in high school, varsity one, let's go. Then I played disc golf with the boys, right? Just like, it's like frisbee, but it's like golf, right? There's like a course and you just like throw the disc until you get there. And we made a bet, like the loser like pays for in and out, right? Because we all love in and out, right? And it was a 9-hole course. I scored -8, right? -8. Fucking great. And everyone else was like finished positive, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. In and out. Got a double with fries. And my friend didn't pay for my food, man. I got rugged. Frustrating. Very frustrating. Why is this stream in 720p? Well, last time I did 1080p, it was very laggy, so I'm just gonna stick to 720p. Sorry for a small screen. I mean, I'd rather have a smooth stream with 720p than a laggy stream with 1080p. So there you go. Another sip of coffee. Alright, stop spamming, man. I'm gonna ban you. There you go. Okay, hold up. Anyways, so I guess... Yeah, I don't have much material prepared just because I was at home, just enjoying time with family and friends. But I figured, just a farm and chill stream, right? Just talk about my farms, tend to my crops, harvest those gains. It's got to be humble. So obviously the topic on everyone's mind, and even in like my Google form, it's like all the questions are related to DinoSwap. Obviously, DinoSwap is doing great. It's exceeded my expectations. Because my base case for DinoSwap, I guess like the price for DinoSwap was something like the Stegosaurus pattern, where I don't really see it like gigamooning, but I just expect it to just remain relatively stable. So that's the thesis behind why I've been farming it. I mean, it's only been out for 9 days. This is the 9th day. So it's too early for me to say, like it's gonna keep going up or it's gonna start going down. Like, to be honest, I don't know. Right? Nobody knows. For anyone asking me for price targets, I don't have one for you, right? So like, general tip, like if you're just going into these farms just because I'm entering them, like that's generally not a great idea, right? Because I enter these farms with a plan in mind, right? I have a thesis. I went over that thesis. If you want to find out about that thesis, then look at last week's live stream, right? Look at the video that I posted on Wednesday. And also, I encourage everyone to check out this podcast that I did with Cole0x. He's one of the investors in DinoSwap. And there's like a 15-minute period where he like talks over his bullish case for DinoSwap, and he said that he's providing liquidity, right? His firm and him personally is providing liquidity for DinoSwap. And he said, I mean, this was like when price was $2, so like maybe like he might start selling, but he said he's not selling any at those price levels. He said that at like, we recorded this on like the 21st, so like he said that around here. Obviously, his firm can like start like slowly selling here, but like I don't know, right? I don't have any inside information. I'm just a retail investor that does his research and has a thesis, and then calculates in my head the estimated expected value of these farms, and then just like allocates value. That's essentially what I'm doing. And the question everyone's asking is like, are you going to sell? Like, it's going up. Are you going to sell? Well, like that wasn't my plan to begin with, right? Like I never had a price target. I never like said like I'll start selling at $5 or something. I said my thesis is that, hey, like a bunch of VCs are in this. The team is phenomenal. The tokens are vested over 12 months. So everyone has a financial incentive to, create a good project with a relatively stable price. And in that scenario, this Dino USDC pool should be printing, right? And so far it has been printing. I've been in this for 9 days. I've put this much of capital in here, and it's at roughly 16.5K, right? So that's a pretty good ROI. And it's simple. I mean, I get it, right? Everyone, like, if you're new to farming, like, you don't enter with a plan, so you don't really know like what the hell you're doing, and you're like, oh, what do I do, Taiki? Like I just encourage people to like have your own plan, right? Because my thesis has yet to be invalidated, so I'm not moving out anytime soon. That can change like 3 days from now, right? But so far, just sticking to the strategy, right? And on top of LinkPad, the Hashed group, right? They also, one of the investors, they're also providing liquidity to the Dino USDC pair. So if like maybe a good indicator of when like you might want to start selling is like when the liquidity on the Dino USDC pool starts going down, because that's one indicator of VCs maybe taking profits. Because sure, I mean, a lot of us are in this, right? But I'd say like over half of the liquidity here are from, actually no, over 75% I bet are from the team and from VCs. So maybe this is a good thing to look out for. Is this the top signal? Maybe, man, maybe this is a top signal. I'm just here to say that, like, because I don't want to pump this project. I don't want to like affect the market cap of these projects, because this definitely exceeded my expectations. And I'm having second thoughts on like, is it because like my thesis was good, or is it because like my viewers are just pure degens and they're just like aping in? And I don't want to be the channel that like moves markets. I think that's unethical. So maybe in the future I wouldn't like talk about like small caps. But I mean, this is like the first time I'm talking about like a small cap, right? With like a bullish fundamental thesis. So who knows? Like, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. Like, does it look like I'm pumping this thing to you? Because if so, then I need to watch myself, because I don't want to be those channels, right? And those channels are like, this is filthy channels. Yeah, the goal of Dino Swap is to not go extinct, right? Like we don't want the meteor to hit, right? We don't want the VC meteor to hit us, because one thing I mentioned in the Call 0x podcast was VCs are your friends. So VCs are on your side until they aren't, right? Like, they're not in this because they're nice people, right? They're not in this because like they wanna give us money, or like have retail investors make money. Like they're in this because they think it's a good investment. And I'm sure the VCs have a much better fundamental model of how to value the price of Dino. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty impossible to time when VCs will sell. I guess the only good thing to go off of is, their tokens are vested for 52 weeks, right? The team, the VCs, right? And 35% of the tokens are in their hands, right? So as long as they're not like quickly dumping, then, the price is going to remain stable. That's just math. And as this tweet showed you, like LinkPad and, Hashed Official is farming the Dino token, right? So probabilistically, I'd say over 40% of the tokens are in their hands, right? And so you have to be thinking about like, what's their incentive, right? Like, how do they make money? And sure, like, they have a bunch of tokens, right? They probably got it at like a 50% discount, 30% discount. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not in those meeting rooms. But I don't think they're in the green after 9 days, right? Maybe like a month from now, yeah, maybe they're in the green. But this is like the part of economic incentives and game theory I like to talk about. Yeah, I'm just being honest, right? I'm just like speaking my thoughts. Let's see what people are saying. Let's see. You're fine. I don't think you have that much influence. I mean, yeah, hopefully I don't. But I mean, like, my channel has a lot more influence than like some like random 100,000 subscriber channel, right? Because I made a tweet about this, but like some channels, YouTube channels, they have like 100,000 subscribers, but their average video view is like 2K. It's like they're not engaged at all. Anyways, I just want to be careful about like pumping these things. I'm not trying to pump these things, right? I guess the best way to pump your bags is to have the VCs do it for you. For example, DFG, you know, so they're talking about it, and I expect like these other VCs like DeFi, Spartan Group, LinkPad. I mean, I already had him on my podcast, so like that's something that, you know, yeah, the best way. Sorry, I'm so caffeinated that like my brain isn't like it's moving too fast. So it's hard for me to talk. But anyways, my plan has been the same. You know, this is how much I put in. I'm hyper compounding it. So right, so maybe I'll do this later in the stream or after the stream. But essentially, you know, this is like $900 worth of Dino. I'm gonna borrow $900 worth of Aave, worth of USDC on Aave, and then where's Sushi Swap, and then provide liquidity, right? And this hyper compound. That's been my plan from day one. That's still my plan, and that's gonna be my plan for maybe the next couple of weeks. Maybe that's too optimistic. Maybe that's top signals to me. Maybe maybe this is a top signal. I simply do not know. But you know, just if you take this farm from a more, I guess, like mathematical perspective, then it just makes sense, right? In hindsight, it's obvious, but that's been my thesis since day one. So, what else was I supposed to talk about? Yeah, so that's my plan. I'm gonna answer any questions from the chat, so please feel free to ask questions. But just have your own plan, right? Because like I had my own thesis. You can follow that thesis if you like vibe with it. Not financial advice, but you know, like it also depends like how much money you put in, right? Like if you have like your entire net worth in this and it's like doubled, then yeah, maybe it's, you know, smart to like take your cost basis out so you can sleep at night. But you know, like I try to not focus on the money. It's all about EV for me, right? Expected value. I come from a poker background, so whenever I see a high EV spot, you just have to take it, and that's kind of the way I've been approaching it. It's poker. Yeah, poker is a brutal game. Like I'm like pretty detached from like it. I guess it's bad to say like I'm detached from the money. Like obviously it's like my money, but like when you study poker, like all you study is like what's like the highest EV play, and over time, like if you just keep making a high EV play, right, you're just gonna make money, right? That's just how math works. So that's how like my brain is wired. And if you flash back to like mid-May when I said I'm not gonna enter degen farms anymore, right? That's because I thought like, you know, the average farm is just gonna be minus EV, so let's just not enter it. And then it took me 2 months for me to actually find something that was plus EV, and you see it's working for me so far. I guess it's also a good lesson to, you know, to be humble, right? You got to be a humble yield farmer, right? You just got to take profits, and not like subscribe to like these crazy like price targets, right? Because like I said, my base case for the price of Dino is just the Stegosaurus pattern, right? Where, you know, it's just gonna be profitable to yield farm these things. You join the Telegram, there's like people throwing around like $30-$40 price targets. Like like that's not based in any reality, right? It's just they just like look at Dino and be like, okay, like how much does the token need to go up for me to be rich? And then that's just like their price target, right? It's just like ridiculous. But if you actually think about like the tokenomics of this farm, like this is the most likely price pattern of Dino in the next, let's say, 4 months, right? And I don't know where we are. Maybe we're here, right? Maybe it starts flatlining at $10. Maybe we're already here, right? And maybe we've topped and we're going to start flatlining around like 420. I don't know. It's impossible for any of us to know. It's irresponsible to act like you know. But yeah, I'm answering your questions. What World Series of Poker events are you going to play this year? I'm actually going to Vegas in September. I'm not going to play any events because I'm primarily cash. I'll probably play 2-5 and 5-10. Maybe the Bellagio, so maybe I'll see you there and sometime in September. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about like whatever like Ponzi farm you're in if it's not anything I'm talking about. Most farms are just like not worth my time. Most farms are not as high EV as Dino. Most farms are minus EV. So yeah. Yeah, and after I answer some questions, I'll move to the AMA section. Yeah, and I get a lot of these questions about like, oh my god, like, or it's like coming from their perspective, right? They're like, hey, like I doubled my money, should I take some profits? Well, that's obviously like you have to do what's best for you, right? Like I don't know how much money you have, I don't know how much money you put in, like I don't know what your financial situation is, and like I don't really know like what other coins you're holding, right? So you have to come to your own conclusions, right? Like you're the one clicking buttons, you're the one like, you know, like flinging money around, like not me, right? I'm just showing you what I'm doing. And it's generally not a good way to think about like, I'm already up this much, so should I sell everything? It's similar to, maybe this is like a bad analogy, but like in poker, right? Like maybe like there's a table with like, it's a really good game, right? And like every player is bad, right? You're just like significantly better than those people. But you might not have, right? Like in terms of bankroll management, you might not have enough capital to enter that game. Well, when a good opportunity arises, it sometimes makes sense to just stick with it and just go for it, right? It's the term going jugular, right? When Druckenmiller and Soros shorted the pound, I forgot when, right? Druckenmiller actually has some BTC, which is pretty cool, and Soros trades BTC as well. But they're like one of the few legends in the TradFi industry. They literally went all in on shorting the British pound because they had a thesis, and you know they were like, you know what, like the only way this thing can go is down, so let's just put all our money into the short and just make a fuck ton of money. And that's what they did. And from like like a third person's perspective, it's like, why would you put all your money in one trade? But if the EV of that trade is good enough, then you know maybe it makes sense. Now I'm not suggesting like YOLO net worth in the Dino swap, right? That like that would be too degen even for my standards. But you can't just look at like, oh, I'm already up 2x, so I should start selling. Well, no, like after you have a 2x, like what is your thesis, and has that changed? Then if it hasn't changed, then like why exit? But obviously, like, you know, if you're YOLO net worth into it, then yeah, like maybe you shouldn't just like keep going on, because like that's, I mean, I don't have my net worth in this, like, and like I would never do that, right? It is a degen farm, but that I feel like that's a good way to think about it, right? Like, what's your plan? Has anything changed, right? Has anything changed? It's like if you bought Bitcoin at 10K and it's at like 30K, like has your thesis changed, right? You're up 3x, should you sell? You're up so much. Well, if your thesis is that this thing's gonna replace gold, then like why not just hold it and just like, you know, put it into Aave or something, or BlockFi or whatever, right? Let's see. How do you calculate expected value? Well, there's no math equation, right? It's just like, I played poker for like way too long. I played professionally, so like I just have like a basis of like, okay, what is the EV, right? It's just like a good way to think about it is like, what is the risk and what is the reward, right? It's similar to trading, right? Let's say there's like a trade on Bitcoin and you're risking $100, but your target is at $500, right? Well, that trade only has to work 20% of the time for you to break even. So, that's a very plus EV trade. And for Dino swap specifically, like I'd say that, this is my base case, this Stegosaurus pattern, right? This fucking Stegosaurus, this is my base case. I would assign maybe like a 50% chance for the price of Dino to look like this in the midterm, right? Right? And if the base case is the Stegosaurus pattern, then, the Dino USDC pool is printing, right? Isn't it? Right? Because yeah, Dino would go down, but the APYs are so high that it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's say there's a 50% chance that this is the base case. And let's say there's a 10% chance it gigamoons, right? Like it like flips pancake swap, right? Like some ridiculous thing. Like maybe that's like 5%, right? Like I don't really think that's gonna happen. And it's good to like not get too caught up on those moon boys saying like ridiculous price targets. Well, in that bull case of 10%, then yeah, like I'm gonna go retire. But then the 40%, right? Then the bear case, the 40% likelihood is this thing goes to like 50 cents, right? In that case, then I might break even, right? Sure, I wish I took profits at this point if it goes to 50 cents, but like at this point in time, I'm weighing the probabilities of all these outcomes, and like I think in the current what's the word? Like as of now, I think the EV is pretty high, and that thesis hasn't changed. More people are entering, TVL is growing, and they haven't even announced those partnerships, right? Because they're definitely going to announce partnerships. Like, why is Do Kwon of Terra in this? Why is Harmony in this, right? They're going to have partnerships. And I'm sure that, VCs are going to have podcasts with, like, DinoSwap team members talking about, like, the next generation of yield farming, right? Like, all that BS, so... Who do you recommend following on Twitter? I think in terms of ecosystems, I think just first of all, I think I would just follow all the ecosystems. Like follow the Polygon Twitter accounts, Terra accounts, like Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, right? Just those because they tend to like retweet like things that are good. And to be honest, I follow way too many people. So it's hard to say, but I think he's one of the better Twitter accounts, Crypto Yield Info. He like often talks about farms. I think he's pretty good. And over time, like you're gonna follow a bunch of people, and over time, like maybe every day, like you're gonna find one great farmer, right? And you're gonna just slowly expand. So I think if you're trying to be a humble yield farmer and you're not on Twitter, then like you're missing out, right? Even if you don't like Twitter, right, you got to be humble, right? You got to put that ego, you got to put that pride behind you and be like, you know what, like I'm going to use Twitter as like my news source of like where I'm going to discover content. Because I know like a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of people like don't like the censorship, but like who cares, right? It's just like, it's a news source where I find like new information on farms and where I get to meet more people. So I would recommend that. Okay, anyways, let's go over to the AMA because, I have to prioritize people that actually submit their questions in the Google form, right? In this Google form that I always post over like people just like getting me to show their projects on the live chat. So let's just do that. Let me just sip this coffee because I'm caffeinated out of my mind. All right, how important is decentralization to the future of DeFi? I think decentralization is incredibly important in the mid to long term, right? Like you can't, like, the future of finance is not going to be on Binance Smart Chain, right? Sorry to break it to you. And it's not going to be on Polygon, right? They're both relatively centralized chains. However, in the case of Polygon, I feel fine like playing there just because I get to practice my yield farming, just because I'm priced out of the Ethereum blockchain. And also, I mean, Polygon has been a great source of farms, right? I mean, anyone who's followed me since April know this. And we have like random moon boys talk about like how Phantom and Avalanche is going to change the world and like Harmony. But as I've laid out in my humble farmer thesis, like I personally do not think those are good chains as of now. So in the future, like obviously decentralization matters. That's why I own like more Bitcoin and ETH more than any other coin. But in the short term, like people don't really care, right? I mean, people aped into Binance Smart Chain knowing that it's controlled by CZ. And I'm aping into Polygon because like, even though it's like relatively centralized, right? But, I trust Polygon more than Binance Smart Chain. And, if I were to enter a 5-year coma, I would not have funds on Polygon. But, because I'm so active, I feel fine putting it into these centralized platforms. Just because it's like the best way to make money, at least in my opinion. Oh, okay. So this isn't really a question, but, just patting myself on the back. I hope that, my channel has helped you look at crypto differently, right? Like crypto isn't just buying things and hoping for it to go up. You can actually, enter farms or just put your assets to use, right? The great thing about Aave is like, I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, I don't want to sell my ETH, but I can use it as collateral and kind of activate these coins and, borrow dollars against it and then deploy it into these farms. And that flexibility is why, like, I think DeFi is the future. It's going to take some time, right? It's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen overnight, but, gotta love DeFi. Tips on like starting a new YouTube channel, right? So I feel like I touch on this every week, but I do want to keep talking about it because like my goal is to have, have like an army of humble yield farmers, right? Like create content on YouTube, right? And just talk about their experiences, their strategies. Because right now there really isn't that many great DeFi content out there, right? Let alone yield farming. So where do you begin? Well, how I grew my channel is like, I'm just like completely transparent with my moves and then going over my thought process, right? And sometimes the thought process is bad and then I lose money. Sometimes it's good and I make money. And people really enjoy the journey. So if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, I suggest just doing that, right? And it's going to take some time. Like if you look at my older videos, right? Like my videos were like really, really bad. But over time, I kind of found my niche and I stuck with it. My niche right now is, I guess, farming on Polygon. That might change over time, right? Because I'm not a Polygon maxi, I'm a yield maxi. And I'm just going to go where the yields are. But, maybe there's like no one making Solana DeFi content. Like, why don't you make content there, right? Maybe there's not much to talk about, but, that could be your niche, right? And that could be your thing, right? You can have all the Solana fanboys like, like pump you up, right? And maybe SBF will like retweet your channel and stuff. And like, that's how you grow, right? You got to have a plan. You can't just make videos without a plan. You always have to have a strategy. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I can't predict what the whales are thinking, right? But you can just use game theory. Like we're on day 9 of Dino swap and their tokens are vested for 365 days. So I don't think it's in their financial interest to just dump it right now, right? Maybe they already made their money back, right? I don't know what kind of discount they got when they raised money from all those VCs, but I find it hard to believe that VCs are going to start dumping immediately. Ask me again in a month, and then like I would have no idea. Okay, so this is more of a macro macro perspective. It's that for me personally, I'm positioned, my portfolio is positioned in a way that, if Bitcoin pumps, right? And like, let's say, there's like multiple scenarios, right? There's a scenario where like Bitcoin pumps and like like rest of the market like watches in awe, right? Remember Q4 of 2020, like Bitcoin just went up and all the altcoins didn't do anything, right? Well, in that scenario, I'm fine because Bitcoin is my largest position. Well, let's say if like ETH just like gigamoons, right? Well, that's also, I'm also positioned for that because ETH is my second largest position. And I still hold some alts that could benefit when ETH decides to go up. But what if Bitcoin dumps, right? Then all my alts get wrecked. But because Bitcoin is my largest position and I do own some cash, I do have powder to buy the dip, and I'm not going to be incredibly hurt because Bitcoin is the lowest beta. So like, just don't, I guess my tip is like, don't like live in a world where like you think only one thing can happen. You got to be prepared for all scenarios. And I am prepared for all scenarios, so I don't really care what the market does. I mean, obviously I care, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I guess moving funds from DeFi to your checkings account is a little difficult, right? Like my on-ramp is like centralized exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. So like, I mean, that's how I do it. In terms of daily expenses, like I said, I did play poker. So I did well enough where I do have some savings. So, you know, like I'm not like in a rush to withdraw everything. But I mean, that's how I would do it. Maybe there's a better way. Maybe you can use like some Bitcoin ATM. I don't know, man. But you know, I'm not as degen when it comes to like avoiding the feds or something. I mean, I'm so doxed that like I'm gonna pay my taxes. I'm gonna pay. Oh yeah, speaking of taxes, I'm gonna have token tax on my channel soon to talk about yield farming and taxes. So that'll be a good one. Yeah. So I guess I'm looking to accumulate Chainlink. I just think like if crypto is here to stay, like Chainlink has to do well. Chainlink isn't gonna 100x, right? Like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for steady growers. I'm also very, very bullish Aave. I don't own any Aave, but you know, I will find a point in time to accumulate some Aave because if you use Aave, like, it's the goods, right? And then lastly, I'm trying to accumulate Luna. Because I do like the Luna ecosystem. I've talked about the Luna ecosystem, and I think the Luna, like how the token is designed and how the entire ecosystem is designed makes sense, right? Everything is centered around UST, which is the algorithmic stablecoin. So those are like my major bags, right? Like I'm not trying to find altcoins that 100x's, right? I'm looking to just hold majors, larger market caps. That I think will trend up over time, and then like the farms are where I can accumulate these like degen coins. But if I'm farming it for like dollars, it's like, you know, I'll take on that risk. Yeah. So I haven't talked about the DFYN token yet, but I mean, I don't. So my perspective on DFYN is like I just mentioned it, right? It's just like I got it for free, right? I just use dollars to accumulate this, and if it goes to zero, I don't care, right? I just like obviously I'm a little sad, right? But it's just like a longer term project where like if it goes up, great, right? Then I make a lot of money. But if it goes to zero, then you know it's just like whatever, right? And that's the point of yield farming. That's the point of being a humble yield farmer. You just gotta take the yield where you can and have a plan, right? Like my strategy for DFYN and Cheetah, right, is just hold it because I farmed it for free. I'm just gonna speculate on the future price of the token. Yeah, I kind of went over this, but I mean, obviously, like the safer it is, the safer the farm is, like the more you can put in. Or sorry, I don't want to say that word you because not financial advice, but the more I put in. For example, like Aave is not really a farm, but I mean, I trust Aave with my money, so I'm okay just putting a bunch of money on there. I put a little bit less money on Dino swap because it's less proven, right? But I do think it's relatively safe, right? Always do your own research. But if you're going into like unaudited, anonymous teams with like $200,000 in TBL, then it's probably not the best farm to go all in your net worth on. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but you know, if it helps anyone watching this, then great. I kind of already went over this, so I'm gonna skip this question. Yeah, so a lot of people have questions on Kucoin Community Chain. Simple answer to this question is, humble farmer thesis, right? And Kucoin Community Chain does not satisfy the humble farmer thesis. Therefore, I am not interested. Also, I've heard that, the KCC is like a hub for rug pulls. That also doesn't really sound great to me. There's no money market, so I just don't want to put my money there. Okay. I guess this also applies to Dino swap, right? It's like, how do you know, how do I sell the top, right? Like, how do I not hold the bag? How do I avoid iron finance, right? The simple answer is that there's no way to know, right? It's irresponsible for you to think that you know. So the safest way is to just slowly take profits, right? Like, who cares if you miss out on some crazy upside, right? You gotta be humble. You gotta just grow your stack over time. So the safest way is to just, slowly DCA. DCA sell, right? If you have a thesis and you're pretty high, and if that thesis is relatively high in conviction, then yeah, maybe you stick to your thesis. But yeah, if you don't have a plan, then obviously you don't know the answers to these questions. So I get a lot of these Dino swap questions from people that don't have a plan, right? They don't really think for themselves. They just ape because I talk about it. But I can't really help you there, right? I mean, yeah, I can't help people like that, because you have to think for yourself, right? Don't just follow some random dude on the internet, because I'm also a retail investor. The VCs know more about Dino swap than I do, so how am I supposed to know? Speaking of which, I don't have a target price for Dino, because I think target prices for farm tokens is pretty ridiculous, right? But if you do want to, if you do want to tickle your pickle and figure out a price target for you to latch onto, just go on Telegram and then ask people, right? They'll give you $50 price targets, right? Based off of their own research. Or I'm sure if you look up Dino swap on YouTube, okay, there's my video. There's a bunch of these videos. I'm sure these guys have price targets based on their own whatever research that they've done. And, you can just listen to those guys. But me personally, I think it's irresponsible to have price targets for Dino swap just because it's a farm token. I'm just thinking in terms of probabilities. So basically, this is a question about why am I not on Binance Smart Chain? So one of the reasons is that if you listen to the live stream that I did with Cole0x, let's see, let's just go back a little bit. Oh yeah, right here. He's also started to pull out of Binance Smart Chain because there's this chart online somewhere where in the last, out of the last 100 rug pulls, 80 of them are from Binance Smart Chain, right? And there are more rugs on Binance Smart Chain than on any other chain. So I just don't want money there because I just can't enter farms with confidence. Also, Binance US doesn't allow for direct withdrawals to Binance Smart Chain, right? And you have to VPN into it, and I just don't want to go through all that just because I am doxxed and I'm not too sure on the legalities there, and Binance is just under the regulatory scopes, right? So maybe I'm just being a nit, but not too interested. And 100% is nice, but I think there are also good opportunities on Polygon and also on Terra. So yeah, farm and dump. So if you go back to my videos in late April and early May, I was entering these degen farms, and I literally said in my videos this thing has a lifespan of 2 days, but I'm a farm and dump this shit because it just makes money, right? So most farms, 90% of farms, they just go to zero because there's literally zero value in those projects, right? And if you just read the documentation, you can just tell, right? There's grammar errors, spelling errors. They're gonna say they're gonna be listed on a centralized exchange next month, which is ridiculous, right? There's no fucking way. So in those low quality farms with where the developer is just trying to make money off of all the deposit fees. I'll just farm and dump, and like I have a time span of like 1 or 2 days. But for something like Dino Swap, where there is fundamental value, or speculatively there is fundamental value, then I think it's okay to have a longer time period. At the end of the day, you just got to use your brain, right? Like, I mean, there's no one size fits all answer to anything in life, right? It depends on the farm. Yeah, I mean, this is just like one of the better. This question just highlights how great Aave is, right? It's just like Aave gives you so much flexibility, right? Aave is making so much money off of like all these interest payments that I'm making them, but it's worth it for me because I'm paying less than 2% APY, and with my dollars I'm earning whatever this thing is, right? Like 1.5 million % APY. So I feel fine. Like, obviously, like, it's all up to our risk tolerances. Like, feel free to repay this whenever you want. I mean, yeah. I mean, most of the answers to these questions, it's like, it's up to you, man. Like, don't ask me. Like, I don't know your life situation. I don't know how much money you have. I don't know what your portfolio is, right? Like, yeah, let's just all try to use our brains, because the point of this channel isn't for you to just ape into whatever I'm doing. It's just, I'm trying to teach you guys how to think, right? How to be humble, how to be a humble yield farmer, right? And that's why I kind of want, like, and recently I've been noticing like a bunch of Twitter bios, right, from these farmers, and like in their Twitter bios, it's like, it says humble yield farmer. And I think I coined that term. Maybe, I mean, I feel like that term's been around for a while now, but I feel like humble yield farmer, degen yield farms, like, I feel like I made that term mainstream. So it's kind of cool to see like a bunch of people like, be humble. Be humble yield farmers. Okay, so Mars protocol is something on the Terra ecosystem, and Mars I'm pretty bullish on. It's from what I know, right? From like my dubious research, it's going to be a money market on Terra, a better money market than Anchor, right? Anchor is not really flexible in terms of like what you can do. From what I heard, like, you can use like a bunch of assets as collateral, like, for example, mirrored assets. So if I buy like M Apple, right, on Mirror, right, the synthetic Apple, synthetic stock, right, Apple, then I can put that as collateral and borrow against it. And that alone is like revolutionary. Like, you're telling me that I can buy Apple, put it as collateral, borrow against it, and then farm with that? Sign me up. So that concept I'm bullish on. I don't know if they're good at it. I don't know how good their team is, right? Like, if the team is trash, then like the protocol is gonna be trash. And I haven't done too much research outside of that, just because I don't think it's gonna be launched. I think it's gonna launch like Q4 or something. It's not that close, so. But I think that idea is really incredible, and I'm excited. Yeah, so I'm not playing poker anymore, just because I think, I mean, obviously, like, my channel has done well, and I just think that, focusing on crypto is higher EV than playing poker, right? I'm just comparing the EVs of playing poker versus making crypto content. And I think you all would agree, like, I should make more crypto videos than play poker, like, right? Yeah, I talked about this, but gotta make a Twitter account, right? Crypto Twitter is where it's at. That's where all the memes are. And last question, and then after I answer this question, I'm gonna look at the chat and answer any of your questions. But yeah, I just want to prioritize the pre-submitted questions, because like, they actually went through the time to like pre-submit them. Actually, I kind of already answered this. I'm just positioned so, like, whatever happens, like, I'm ready for. And that's just a good mental exercise to do in your head, right? Like, what if this happens? Like, will I get wrecked? Like, what if this happens? Will I get wrecked? And once you get to the portfolio allocation where it's like, okay, like, I'm prepared for all scenarios, whether we pump or dump, then then you have a plan, and then you know how to react, right? If you don't have a plan, like, for example, like, if you don't have a plan and like this thing starts dumping, right, then you're just gonna panic sell, right? But my plan is the Stegosaurus. right? Stegosaurus. And I don't really care like what happens to the price as long as it's just like this, right? This is my plan. It might change. Crypto, you have to be nimble in crypto, right? Like, so maybe the Stegosaurus pattern will be rejected, or Stegosaurus thesis will be rejected, right? In the future. But so far, I still think this is the case. This is my base case, right? I'm assigning like a 50% probability that this happens, right? And the 50% is like coming out of my ass. Like I have no idea. I'm just like spitballing. But yeah, that being said, and don't get me wrong, it can totally do this too, right? I mean, the price is the result of supply and demand, and if people want to sell their tokens, it's just going to go down, right? I can't control what people do with their tokens. I can only control what I do with my tokens. And if I have a plan, then it makes that process and decision making process a lot easier. So that being said, I'm gonna look at the chat for some questions. Hopefully I don't get, every time I get like these, you know, what are your thoughts on like this random farm? And this is like, I don't care, dude. I really don't care. Yeah, so ask away. Okay, hold up. Yeah, and if any of you guys have like actual price targets for Dino with like actual research, then hit me up, right? Like I'm also curious because I'm just doing this all by myself. Yeah, but like these ridiculous price targets based off of like hopium is just like ridiculous. Let's see. What are emissions? Emissions are 16.63 dinos per block, and every block is 2.5 seconds, roughly. So just do the math there. It's pretty high inflation. Yeah, I need to do more research on Pylon, on Terra. Haven't really looked into it. I've just been too busy with personal life and things like Dino, I guess. But you know, like the markets are quiet, right? I mean, sure, Bitcoin is like moving a little bit, but I mean, we're still where we were like mid-May. Like nothing's really changed, right? We're still at 34K. So even though everyone's bullish, like look at this chart, right? Is this bullish to you? Like I don't think so. Which could change, right? I just like don't have. I guess I just like. I try to like detach from like the emotions, so I can like make clearer decisions. Yeah. I'm a cash player. I should get into tournaments because I think it's softer, but my specialty is cash. I'm a Pio kid. I study solvers. I have like a spreadsheet with like 30 tabs with like a bunch of data. I went pretty hard last year. Luckily, I did make a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but I did okay. But I mean, I think crypto has a brighter future than poker. I mean, poker I think is just a declining industry. And poker, like the stakes are not adjusted for inflation, right? It's like if you play 2-5, right, a $500 buy-in, I mean that it's going to be the same game like 2 years from now, right? It's still going to be a $500 cap. And when you think about it that way, it's like my earning power isn't going up that much, and the dollar is getting devalued. So it seems like crypto is just a better place to be. I'm drinking cold brew with 2 shots, right? So this is probably like 5 times the average. This is probably like 500 milligrams of caffeine or something. So I'm buzzed. I am buzzed. I don't even know if buzz is the right word. I'm just like, my brain is like fucking shooting everywhere. You know, it's fucking insane. What the? Do you think investing in a Sex Doll 3000 with 50 watts of vibration, Asian grip self-lubricating doll be a good idea? Hey man, like if you can put that as collateral, borrow against it, and farm with it, then yeah, that could be a good investment, right? Maybe you can rent it out, maybe you can use it yourself. I don't know, man, you do you. Let's see. Have you looked into Pendle? Yes, Pendle is interesting. It's like a way to sell future yield and speculate on the like future yield. It's on the Ethereum blockchain, so like I am not interested in like, I think it pays like 30% APY or something. Like, why would I pay Ethereum gas fees to farm that thing when I can stay on Polygon, right? It's like there are a bunch of good projects, but it's all about opportunity cost. If I can earn, let's say 50% on Polygon paying 0 fees versus like earning like 30% on Ethereum with like high fees, then like what do you think I'm gonna do, right? I'm just gonna stay on Polygon. Do you think we already saw the all-time high for Polygon? In terms of excitement, right? I think so. And yeah, like the Matic price, that was way too insane, right? It went from like, I don't even know. Let's take a look. Let's put a log. Okay. Let's see. At the beginning of the year, it was roughly 2 cents, and it went to 270, right? Like that's way too insane. I think the bubble has popped. But you know, I never bought Matic, right? I just farmed it. Like all the Matic that I had in the past were all farmed. So you know, on the way up it was great, but you know, I'm not really hurting on the way down. But in terms of TVL, I think TVL should surpass its prior all-time high. I forget where it was, maybe like 15 billion. But you know, the Polygon ecosystem can like be a really good ecosystem without the Matic token like gigamooning, right? I mean, those are two separate things. So yeah, I'm still on Polygon because the yields there are great, right? I'm not like buying this, right? Like I never bought it. Oh yeah, also I feel like a good time to like start dumping Dino is like if one of the larger accounts start talking about it, right? Like, I feel like that's the time. If there's anything that I can say for sure is that like if one of the larger YouTube accounts start shilling Dino Swap, that's gonna be like my exit liquidity, right? Because after those shills talk about it, like who's left to buy, right? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like those YouTubers are like bad, right? But I feel like those people like tend to put a top in like the price of tokens, just because I feel like most of them like buy the token or get a pre-sale and then dump it. Dino didn't have a pre-sale, right, outside of like the VCs, so maybe the bigger accounts won't talk about it just because they didn't get a pre-sale. It was like a fair launch where there were no pre-sales. But yeah, also like as soon as like my comment section is filled with like $50 price targets, like that's when I should like exit, right? Let's take a look at this video. This is like my most recent video. Let's see if there's like insane price targets. Let's sort by. This is a funny. The highest liked comment is "Glad it's working for you. I'm not gonna risk money in degen farms anymore. This is how exactly I got wrecked with Iron Finance. Okay, maybe people are still in disbelief, right? Who knows? Okay, let's see. Is it too late? Okay, like, got rugged. Oh god, oh no. This comment is very worrisome. Got rugged on Iron. Now I'm full in on Dino with 12k. This is all I have. I want it to 2x. First of all, like, please, I mean, not financial advice, but that is very dangerous. And yeah, I'm kind of in shock. Yeah. Okay, let's just keep scrolling down. Yeah, I guess there's not that many like crazy price targets, so the Taiki YouTube channel sentiment indicator is, you know, still flashing neutral. But as soon as everyone starts posting $50 price targets in the comment section, then yeah, it might be time to get out. Because yeah, I don't believe in that stuff. Yeah, taxes. I'm gonna have token tax on my channel, and well, I'm gonna record a video with them on Friday. That's the scheduled time. So I'll probably upload the week after, right? Maybe early August. I don't know, but I don't think people are in a rush to pay taxes in DeFi. But you know, it'll be a good video. Yeah, I'm gonna pay someone to do the taxes, right? Like, I mean, like, I have a spreadsheet with like all my purchases, but at some point I just said like, dude, like, there's no way I can like track all this. So I'm gonna pay someone. That's fine. Oh god. Yeah. If you spam the same question over and over again, like, I'm incentivized to not answer your question, so. But yeah, and I feel maybe you can hear. So I live near a train station, right? When I moved here, I did not intend to be. I didn't plan on making videos, so I just lived near a train station. But when I move, maybe like next calendar year, I'm gonna move where there's like no outside noise, because it is annoying. It is annoying. I'm sorry, but you know, yeah, that's just like the reasoning. Let's see. Yeah, any plans on a Patreon? I do have plans for a paid group, for full transparency. I really vibe with Benjamin Cohen's model, right? Where he runs 0 ads on his YouTube channel. He does not do paid shills, right, on his channel, but he monetizes the paid group, right? It's like a freemium model where, you know, he posts videos every day, and if you want to like actually know what he's doing, then you gotta pay up. And I kind of vibe with that a lot more than like running ads. Like I don't like those channels that like always talk about like, this video is sponsored by, you know, BlockFi, you know, earn 3% on your crypto, use my referral link for $10 more. It's like, yeah, it's kind of annoying for me personally. So I want to do a similar model where my YouTube will remain the exact same, right? It's like free videos, you know, it's free content, 0 ads, 0 revenue from ads, no paid shills. But if you want to like actually get to know what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, then, you know, maybe I'll do a Patreon. That's gonna be probably after I come back from Vegas, just because I don't want to start a Patreon and then be like, peace out guys, I'm gonna play poker for a week. So maybe like Q4 of this year. But you know, just being transparent. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people don't know this, but I don't run ads on this channel, right? I've made 0 money from this YouTube channel. Because I think like that like aligns the incentives between like me and the viewers. Because if I ran ads, right, I can probably make a few $1,000 a month, but over time, like the quality of my videos might go down because my incentive might be like to post videos every day to get ads revenue, right? But because I don't get ad revenue, like my incentive is to just make good videos whenever I feel like it. And I feel like, I feel like people that run ads, like the quality of those videos is just like lower, right? And they post like one or two times a day, and it kind of like fills your feed, and it's kind of annoying. And I think like paid videos are like kind of unethical, so I'll never do that as well. Okay. Time you out. Okay, one sec. Do you think Phantom is dead? No, I don't think Phantom is dead, right? But this video, the humble farmer thesis, right? I mean, I'm not even interested in deploying capital on Phantom because it does not satisfy the two requirements of the humble farmer thesis. That being, first there has to be a good AMM, right? With a good yield, with high TVL. I mean, every chain has an AMM, right? So that's like a table stakes, right? It's just given. But the second requirement is a money market, right? Money market being a lending and borrowing protocol like Aave. If an ecosystem does not have a lending and borrowing protocol, that means that the TVL of that ecosystem is not going to go that high, right? Because Polygon, I don't know, it has like a little under 10 billion TVL, I believe. And I feel like half of that ish is on Aave, right? And Aave just incentivizes money to go there because people like me, I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, I don't want to sell my ETH, but I can use it as collateral, borrow against it, and then farm with it, right? If I wanted to go to Phantom, then I would have to like sell my Bitcoin for dollars to do something, which I don't want to do, right? Because I don't want to pay short-term capital gains. I don't want to sell Bitcoin. I just don't want to do that. So when Phantom has a money market, right, that I can trust, then I'll go there. But, that's just how I think about it. Arbitrum, like Arbitrum, what the hell, right? Like they hyped that up so much in like June. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be live in like a few weeks, and then nothing happened, right? Fucking crickets. It's fine, right? I mean, at least Polygon is here. But if there was no Polygon and Arbitrum and Optimism hyped it up and then they didn't launch on time, then but it's fine. I'm not gonna drop a token. No, fuck that. Yeah, how's my coffee business? It's pretty good. I'll probably like talk about it later because we're like working on a new product. But essentially here. So obviously I love coffee, and I came up with this idea in college, but we essentially said like, why is coffee always a drink, right? Like, why don't we eat coffee? So we made this coffee bar. I don't know if you can see it, but it's essentially coffee chocolate where one bar gives you energy equivalent to a cup of coffee. So just a bar, right? Just a bar. And then we're also coming with different products. It's just like a company I started in college, trying to grow it as well. Working on a coffee startup, doing crypto farming, poker when I have the time. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I mean, yeah, once a poker player, you're always a degen, so. Maybe not degen, but. Let's see. what poker stakes was I playing online? So I played 100 and 200 NL, meaning $100 buy-in and $200 buy-in, and I played like 6 to 8 tables, right? Like on my screen, clicking buttons, listening to Kanye, just like trying to fuck people up. And that's basically all I did in 2020. I woke up, studied for like 2 hours, ate lunch, and then just grinded, until my girlfriend finished work, and then we just like ate dinner and stuff. But yeah, it was definitely less. I mean, it's fun on its own, but like I feel like crypto's a lot more fun, and crypto definitely has a brighter future. Keep getting random calls, but yeah, but like playing live, I was always like a 2-5 grinder, right? That's how I built up my bankroll. But I think I'm definitely good enough to like beat 510. So that's what I'll be doing in Vegas. So feel free to join me in Vegas sometime in September. Sorry if I disconnected. It's just like my screen is lagging. Yeah, dude, Donda. Dude, I actually thought he was gonna drop it on the 24th, but Kanye rugged me. Like Kanye always rugs you. Like he's the definition of a rug pull, right? Just like, I'm dropping an album this date, right? And we're like, yeah, finally, fucking musical genius. And then he just rugs you. He's like, sorry guys, like maybe in 2 weeks. He gave, I think August 6th is when he'll drop it, right? After EIP 1559. But who knows, right? Because he was supposed to drop an album last year, July 24th, right? And then he just rugged us. He rugged us for a year. And then he rugged us again. It's frustrating, but it's Kanye, right? I mean, that guy's insane. He's actually insane. So, yeah, I'm getting rugged. I got rugged by Kanye. I got rugged by my friend. Hopefully I don't get rugged by Dino Swap. That would be sad. Oh, Danku, yeah. So, I did like Twitter Spaces. I forget when, like maybe last week. Just to see what the hype was all about. And then like Danku, so Danku_R in the chat, he has a pretty good YouTube channel, right? He has one of the better DeFi channels out of like anyone that I've seen. He actually spends time on it, right? If you want to make videos, just spend time on it, right? Just don't spend like 15 minutes on it, right? No one's gonna watch it. So I told him like expand to other blockchains, right? Just don't only talk about Terra, right? There's so much you can talk about Terra. And he made a Solana video recently about how to earn like 30% on UST. That was a good video, man. I'll give you a shout out there. I'm always happy to give shout outs to people as long as they like make good content. I feel like I always shout out someone in my live stream because I'm always looking for new good content, right? Because I feel like I'm trying my best out here, guys. And like I don't care about like some 100x potential farm because like that's full of shit, right? But more sophisticated strategies, bring it on, right? Like give me some competition, right? Let's fucking go, guys. Bring on the good farmers. Kanye is Andre Kanye. Oh fuck, that rhymes. Oh, there has to be a good video. No, there has to be a good song someone can make from Kanye and Cronier. What's my poker win rate? I think I'm probably the best 100 NL player in America, or one of the best. Just given my win rate. The site I played didn't allow you to track stats, so I don't know. But I mean, out of the people in the 100 NL pool, I'm probably the best, or top 5 for sure. But that's about it. Like I'm probably like an average reg at 200, which is, or no, I'm a little above average, but I have kind of an exploitative strategy, like combined with game theory, which did really well at 100, but it doesn't really work at 200 just because people are so much better. But right when I was transitioning to 200, right, I just like did crypto. So I guess we'll never know. I feel like everyone thinks that they're the best, so like maybe I'm just like full of shit. But I did well at 100. I know. Let's see. Hold up. Okay. Any comments on Alex Saunders? I don't really know what the hell that's about. But it would be disappointing if he actually like scammed people. Because I thought he was one of the good guys. Or that was his image, right? Don't quote me on this because I'm just hearing through the grapevines, but apparently like he like scammed people and then like took all the money, put it into FTX and like leveraged, gambled it all the way. And I think he has kids and like he has a wife too, right? So like I feel like he would know better. So I feel like there's a catch. I feel like I don't know, like maybe if there's a Twitter thread on like that explains the entire situation, like I'm open to looking at it because I thought he was one of the good guys. Let's see. Yeah, I played on global poker. Yeah, so if you play those things, then I'm one of those 100-0 grinders. So I'm not gonna give it away, but I'm not gonna give away my username just yet. But yeah, I was in there. I was in there every day last year. Hold up. No, global doesn't allow HUDs. If they do, then it's cheating, and I don't want to get banned. What do I think about insurance? So I think insurance is. I think the current products in the field of like the insurance category is like not there yet, because there's just this moral hazard problem, right? Where like if you're like an insurance protocol, right? Like you do like if you're a protocol, like you don't want to insure like the super high risk farms, right? Because like why would you want to insure that? But if you're like a farmer, you want insurance on those higher risk farms, right? So that alone doesn't work, right? Because then how do you create a market for that? Insurance protocols are only going to provide insurance for the safer ones, right? Because then there's actually like supply and demand, and like that you can actually price it. So I mentioned this in the podcast with Cole 0x. Just saying again, if you haven't watched that, then like, are you even trying to be a humble farmer, right? Because Cole 0x, he's a VC. He has a portfolio of like 80% stable coins, and he just farms with that. So like, if you want to get a better perspective of how funds farm, then you have to watch that podcast. He dropped some serious alpha in that one. So do that. I forgot what I was talking about. I guess I need more coffee. Yeah, global. Oh my god! Like after COVID, around like March last year, like global was so soft. I was like 8-tabling, and I was just like clicking buttons, and like people just donated money, right? But like now it's a lot harder. Like I think like last year, like Q2, like there were like 20 tables at all times, and now there's like under 10 tables. Just like not worth my time now. It's gotta be humble, right? It's just like. Yeah, like I don't think my hourly is as good anymore. Let's look for better opportunities. you just gotta think about the EVs of all your life decisions. Anyways, I feel like the questions are dying down. I've already been live for like 75 minutes, so I'm gonna stop soon. But yeah, like fucking Dino swap, man, like it's crazy, huh? I kind of expected this to like just be under $2, but it's doing pretty well. It has exceeded my expectations. Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, I think a lot of people like signed out. Hope everyone enjoyed the live stream. Yeah, just answering questions. Yeah, so like visited family, so didn't have material to prepare, but next week I'll have something to prepare unless like some crazy thing happens. But crazy like life event happens. But I talked about Dino, my strategy, not financial advice, all that, answer questions. I'm just repeating myself because my brain is just like crazy. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have fun farming out there, and yeah, like I really want more people to create yield farming content, so please do that. That'd be great. Yeah, have a good one. Bye.